Hello Internet, I am the hero of Julios, once again with another One Piece chapter summary. This week's chapter is chapter 1029, The Tower. The artwork for this week's chapter is just Jewelry Bonnie having an eating contest with some otters. Haven't seen much from Jewelry since the Reverie arc, but I'm hoping, we're all hoping that once Wano's over, we get a big update on what happened then and there. But it's a cool little artwork. We know she eats a lot. You can see that the otters are sort of like forming their complete team in order to compete with her one on one. So like it's basically one versus like 20. But without further ado, let's get to the actual chapter itself. So the chapter starts off right where we left off, with Queen's sword shattering against Sanji's body, and Sanji is horrified about this. Queen mentions that, it definitely wasn't Haki that Sanji used, and that Judge said, back when Queen knew him, that he knew a way to increase human skin's durability, to increase their healing factor, to make them super strong, and more importantly, to turn them into cold hearted soldiers. Sanji is now worried that this is the beginning of the process that will turn him into a cold, unfeeling machine like his siblings. My belief is that I don't know if that would actually happen to Sanji. This may be the result of his mother's actions to not so much delay the enhancement, but maybe a side effect is that he will get the enhancement and keep his emotions. I'm not exactly sure how it'll work out, but I'm sure it'll work out. Regardless, Sanji decides to run away from this fight, realizing that the more he fights Queen, the more he's going to need to use the raid suit, or at least the more Queen will cause his durability and his other, side effects to kick in. Fighting Queen is probably the fastest route to causing this Germa double six stuff to come into creation. So their fight kind of ends abruptly with Queen chasing Sanji down a hallway, firing lasers at him. After that, we move on to Kid and Law versus Big Mom. And though Law is doing his best, Kid is having an incredibly hard time. He's got this splitting headache going on, and it's just allowing Big Mom to land heavy attacks onto, well, at first just Kid, but due to Law not having someone helping him out, he gets a pretty huge hit from Prometheus as well. And as the two of them are down on the ground, Big Mom's getting ready to finish them both off. Now, for the big bulk of the chapter, we get to the reason Kid has a headache. It is because Hawkins is slamming his head constantly against a wall, and through the power of the Straw fruit, all that damage is getting transferred to Kid instead. I kind of wish by this point we got a better explanation of how exactly the straw fruit works, because it feels like I'm not exactly sure how he gets these straw dummies. Is this a, like, if he touches you he can create a straw doll to protect himself, or is this more of a ritual thing? Is it because Kid got caught by Kaido out cold, and then left in Udon prison, that Hawkins had enough time to make a straw doll, put Kid's defense essence, or whatever you want to call it, into the doll, and then turn that into his shield? Or is this a more instantaneous thing that the opponent has no defense against? That being said, if he has a limit on how many straw dolls, why not just constantly make more if it's an instantaneous thing? And if it's not, why risk fighting someone when you only have one extra life? He does not. I mean, yeah, they were in alliance for a little bit, but he doesn't know exactly how loyal Killer is. For all he knows, Killer might live up to his name and just kill him, even if it means killing Kid. So, I don't know, it seems like a risk reward that I myself wouldn't have been willing to take, but maybe the tarot cards told Hawkins otherwise. On the note of Hawkins' tarot cards, we learn a little bit more about the Straw Man and how the cards are, well, more so the Straw Man is bound to the power of the cards. So, Killer basically pulls a power move on Hawkins and says, "Hey, quick question. What happens to the damage if your body has nowhere for the if your little straw doll has nowhere for the damage to go?" And then he just cuts off Hawkins' arm. And it's a pretty brutal image. I mean, we see the arm just flying off flying off from Hawkins's body. And as Hawkins, is turned around in shock, he's like, "How did you chop off my arm?" And that's when Killer reminds him that Kid doesn't have an arm in that spot. So, because after his fight with Shanks, he lost his arm, Killer, knew that. So, because of this, Hawkins' arm didn't have anywhere for those cuts and scrapes to go to, so he lost his arm. That also happened to be the arm where he was storing the little doll. Because of that, Hawkins is out of 1-ups. And so he pulls from his tarot card deck and he pulls out Death in the upright position, which summons the Straw Man. And though it doesn't take Killer too terribly long to defeat the Straw Man, Hawkins tells the surrounding audience that it doesn't really matter if you kill it that quickly. It is bound to the cards, and the cards will just bring it back. That's when he pulls out the Tower, which I wrote it down as it says in the chapter. The Tower symbolizes the collapse of the old and brittle, and its hidden meaning means a new way forward. So, without a straw doll to protect himself, and with the crumbling of the straw man, Hawkins lies defeated on the ground after taking another heavy slash from Killer. We then get a couple brief panels of Kid getting back up to face Big Mom. The old and brittle versus, the new way forward. This coincides very well with Hawkins and Killer's dialogue, which I was holding off on until the end of this summary. Hawkins basically mocks Killer for a little bit, telling him that, you have made a terrible mistake, there's still a chance to surrender to Kaido, I chose the route that leads to staying alive. To which Killer responds with, "No, you chose the safe route. You are upset. You're angry. That's why you hate us so much right now. Because despite all your fate telling you that we're going to die, we didn't. And here we are. And you hate that." It's the new way forward. It is punching through what is thought to be impossible. It's pretty much what One Piece is always about. But this is the kind of dialogue, the kind of fight scenes, the kind of stuff we needed for the Kid pirates. They're cool. They have great character designs, but if Kid is supposed to be this great foil to Luffy, we need to definitely spend some more chapters on this guy, because right now we know he has Conqueror's Haki, his Devil Fruit controls metal because it's the magnet fruit, and he's a lot more malicious. And while those are the great makings of the opposite of Luffy, they're not the great makings of a well-developed character. But with Kid standing up and Killer saying, "Move forward, partner," we are setting up for a Big Mom versus Kid and maybe Law, because I don't think I saw Law getting up. I'll have to look at the panel again, but I doubt Law got taken down that easily. But we are setting up that the next chapter is probably going to be that fight going on, and we are another chapter without anything from Luffy. So, who knows what's going to happen next? Personally, I'm a little interested in how Sanji is going to handle this power-up that he kind of doesn't want. But, as always, thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video. This is the Hero of Julios, Xing out.